Soren, come on.
Yeah. Can I help you find?
Are they crappy? Are they the same as?
I wouldn't call them quality.
Oh, works better than those. Thank you very much. That was the day I stepped in for.
No, yes, she called, but he told us. No, I'm a student. Yeah, she's doing a volleyball game with her kid. Essentially, that's what she was. I told her. Nice to know. You got my text, I'm sure, right? Yeah, I didn't see it. I was. Oh, okay. We started, yeah.
I didn't expect you to do anything. I was just trying to keep you.
I appreciate that because we didn't know Cassie was here either, so we were like,
Yeah.
okay. All right, you ready? No, nobody did.
What name you put in front of me?
You want that?
What is it?
There.
Turn the.
Ah, there you go. Okay, that was.
Just want to be sure all the lights on. We're moving back.
That's what the email light on.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yes. Mine wasn't intentional.
Oh, yeah.
No. All right.
Your game tag's been moved.
I moved.
Come on, I don't bite.
You did it to me. Oh. Touche.
All right, it's 6:33. Call the council meeting to order. Let's do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Councilmember Cole,
Here.
Councilmember Schweer is absent, Councilmember Wong.
Here.
Councilmember Nordby.
Here.
Mayor Monge.
Here. Get a motion to adopt the agenda, please.
So moved, Your Honor.
Move. Councilmember Norby, second.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Cole, all those in favor say aye. Get it again.
Oh, no.
Councilmember Wong, write it down.
Mark it on the sheet.
You start over, start with the pledge again. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Presentations?
Presentations, we have an update on the student-built housing.
Welcome. Good to see you again. How are you?
Yes, doing well.
Good. How was the ground for getting a foundation in?
That was awesome getting that in, just because it's such a narrow lot and just to kind of not create more havoc on that street, to get that foundation in, get the dirt removed, get it all backfilled, ready to go. So our plan is to be out there Thursday with the students. So we've gone through our first week and a half of safety. They're ready to go.
Wow.
So we are set. So,
It's awesome.
oh, it's so nice having that foundation in prior to the students showing up. They missed out a little bit on that. But we'll be able to see enough of the foundation where it's relevant to the construction process. So we're good.
Good, good to hear.
Mm.
That hides my double chin, so thank you. All right.
No
All right.
pressure.
Well,
No pressure.
That's a huge buildup for.
Well, thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Erick Lehet. I'm the proud assistant principal at the 916 Career and Tech Center.
And my name is Tom Spehn. I'm the construction occupation instructor at the 916 Career and Technical Center.
And I thought I'd just start with a brief overview of 916. Some of you may have heard of 916 before. We do have 4 different divisions, whether it's the special ed division, the area learning centers, the care and treatment, as well as the career and tech center. And we are from the career and tech center. We are an intermediate school district. We do serve 14 different school districts, of which ISD 622 is a member of. So it goes all the way down to South Washington County, that's Park and Woodbury and East Ridge, and all the way up through Forest Lake and all the way over to St. Francis. So we do have a large geographical area of which we draw students from. That's us. We're the Career and Tech Center. We have 17 programs. We have around 1,100 students. We serve roughly 3 time blocks of 370 students. They are with us for an hour and 45 minutes and then go back to their home high schools and take their 4 core classes. And we have been around since 1972, not we, but. And Career and Tech Ed, back in the day, we used to call it Voc Ed. Now it's Career and Tech Ed. We want to get students ready for high skill, high wage, and high demand careers. The ISD 622 enrollment, we draw from North, 622 online, 622 Next Step, and Tartan. So total, you can see ISD 622 sends 174 students to us every day. We do have 2 construction occupation programs this year. We have Tom's program, which is the construction occupation student built home. He sees 56 students in 3 time blocks of an hour and 45 minutes. And then based on the high demand and what Tom saw in his students, that there was enough students to open another class called construction occupations and licensed trades. And so they spend a quarter in solar, quarter in electricity or electrician, plumbing, and HVAC, and that serves 57 students. ISD 62 sends 14 students into our 2 construction occupation programs. And that's really kind of how we operate. We've got like 7 from Tartan, 7 from North, 7 from Monte and 7 from Stillwater. And all of a sudden you've got a whole class. So we try to complement the programming at our home high schools, not compete with them. We want them to take Woods 1, Woods 2, Woods 3, and then the next step would be the capstone, which would be our construction occupation classes. 62's mission is the students to get college and career ready. Tom and our other 17 programs take that to the next step. You can see there's a career tree here. The entry level careers in the lower right, our program those are careers that students would be ready for after a year in Tom's program due to the experience and the industry certifications and credentials. The ones on the left are the technical careers. Those are careers that would be unlocked only with more schooling or more experience. And there are students who choose to go to the professional careers. Again, those aren't necessarily better careers, but only unlocked by more schooling and more experience. Typical for our site is we have about 10% go into entry-level careers right after high school graduation. And then it's an even split between the 2-year schools and the 4-year schools. And the #1 schools that everybody in our consortium goes to is Century College. The only one that's a little bit different is Irondale because they have a 2 and 2 with Anoka Tech. But not Montemita, Stillwater, North Tartan, the #1 school that all of their graduates go to is Century College. So with that, these are some of the houses and structures that we've built in the city of North St. Paul. See that the addresses and the years that we built them. So this year will be the 14th house. Kind of like the 15th structure, 2012 and 2013 is the Tower Park, the House Park, and then North St. Paul ball fields, as well as the COVID year. And I should just look, I don't know whether to leave it blank or put it in there. So some of the donations and discounts that we received from area businesses. Those are just some. I kind of ran out of room, but there are a number more than that. And 2170 this year, same as last year, just reversed, and same as the year before, which was 248719 half.
Right, that's the first year we did that particular floor plan.
Which is what you see here. This is kind of where you take over.
Right, thank you, Eric. So just to kind of add a little bit to what Eric said about our connection with Century College. So this year, because of our course rigor that we have with the construction occupations program, I'm actually offering concurrent enrollment now. So students can take my class and earn 6 college credits on a college transcript. And so that's something new we're starting this year. And in years past, we've been short enrollment during the 2008, 2009, 2010 housing crisis, but with the help of your support, we're able to bring those numbers up. So now we're full-time. And for the last couple of years, I've had the unfortunate opportunity to tell 60 students a year they can't get into my program because we didn't have enough room, because we cap at about 60 for my program due to safety issues. So now we started a new program called Licensed Trades. So now we're up to about 120 kids in the program. So it's growing exponentially, which is a good problem to have in education. So we like that. Getting to the house plan itself, very similar to the one we did on 19th and similar to the one we did last year. It's just reversed. We'll probably, and again, we want to make these fit into the neighborhood. So, you know, the lower roof slopes are big with us to complement the neighborhood, and to make it look like it fits in is always the key when we start doing these projects with the city of North St. Paul. We fortunately had CSA Architect again donate the plans, which was awesome for us. And she's kind of like the rest of the industry, just looking to whatever they can do to entice young kids to get into the building trades. You want to get to the next slide? Thank you. So as I look at this floor plan, and I looked at this with Ron and Randy a little bit, you know, we always want to improve. You know, it's never about we're good with this plan. How can we make this one a little bit better? And I want to make some slight adjustments to this plan. As I looked at last year's house, I noticed we kind of needed some more countertop space. So in last year's model, we actually took out the pantry and put in what they call a coffee bar to kind of get more countertop space now. So I think this year we want to take that maybe one step farther, expand that kitchen just like 6 more inches to balance it out on the stove side, and then probably remove that appliance garage. I could see a tight corner in there. You know, we're always trying to keep the housing down in cost. I don't really know if there's such a thing called affordable housing today. I mean, housing, it just goes up and up in price. And then earlier today, I was thinking about, I'd like to label this quality affordable housing. I mean, we could probably cut some corners on this house and make it more affordable, but I don't want to sacrifice quality on these products. And so the 9-foot ceilings enhance what we're doing here. 2 bedrooms up, 2 bedrooms down. We want to invite a family to move into this community and live in this house. And so that's kind of why we like to style the floor plan. You want to jump to the main floor? Oh, you already did.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Okay. And so going back to the main floor plan, you know, again, we want to have attached garages, which is good. We like the open floor plan concept. So you come into the living room, you can see through the kitchen into the dining room areas. And probably the most important thing that a lot of these house plans have that are less than 1,400 square feet is a main floor laundry, rather than going all the way downstairs to do the laundry. And so from the feedback we got last year the last year's house from the open house that we presented to the community was, you know, they pretty much liked the plan. Some of the things I think may have been over the top a little bit as far as light fixtures and the mirrors and things like that. But on the 29th of September, I have my advisory meeting and I'll be bringing those things up to the members of my advisory committee who are in the building world. Is this worth it? Does it make the house sell better? At the end of the day, we getting our money back out of it, what we put into it. And that's really what it boils down to. And so as far as the exterior finishes go in this house, we'll probably keep it the same 4-inch double lap vinyl siding. Industry standard, it meets the neighborhood, but we'll probably have to do something a little different on the gable ends, just so it doesn't look exactly like the house next to it. Might be going with a more board batten look on there to kind of complement the neighborhood, but still make it not look identical to the house we did last year. So we want to kind of differentiate that a little bit. And so at this time, I'm open up for any questions that the council might have.
Thank you for the presentation.
Oh, not a problem. And just to give everybody an update on the house, it was great work with Ron and Randy again through the summer. We ended up getting the foundation put in. There was a lot of dirt, earth had to be moved out of there, the foundation put in. Dirt was some left on the site, but we probably had to truck some in as well to get it all backfilled. Waterproofed, insulated the styrofoam. Thanks for World Roofing for that one. And I believe the temp driveway is in? Not yet. Okay, so it'll be coming soon. So temp driveway will be coming in here pretty quick. We'll do subcut, get rid of some of those soils, put in a recycled asphalt, and kind of let Mother Nature do its own work through a freeze-thaw cycle, compacting that driveway down. But the big thing is foundations in the ground, water sewer connector in, we're ready to go. So we'll be out there this Thursday with the students for the first time. Lumber's being delivered tomorrow.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for your open house as well. I think it seemed very well attended and there was a lot of good energy in the room, and it was just really wonderful to see the students kind of brighten up, but also their parents, extremely proud of their children and their youth. And so it was a really nice event, and we really appreciate all the partnerships that you have to make this happen too. Obviously you have lots of folks that help with materials and whatnot. So again, thank you for all your work and your partnerships.
Well, and you know, this is incredible. And I tell people the story that we have a city, a high school, and 2 colleges involved, and we've been pulling this off for 14 years. And so it's a reflection of the community of North St. Paul being willing to kind of fund this, but also support it as well. So that's huge on our part. And so again, St. Paul College is part of our partnership. They make custom cabinets for that house, finish them, install them. They design them. They work closely with their interior design program at Century College that again, do all the things I always say I don't want to do them, but more than likely it's because I can't do them. Pick out wall colors, carpeting, flooring, and make it all look good at the end of the day. It's up to me. Walls be white, medium oak stain, tan carpet, we be done. But that's it. But I guess we have to sell this house and it's got to look good. So that's where the interior design students come into play for that.
A step above contractor beige.
Yes, yeah. Well, now it was gray, now it's beige, so it kind of goes back and forth a little bit, but yeah, so we try to add some color to that house to make it appealing.
I just, again, want to thank you for your partnership and the way that, you know, the city's working with you, you're working with the city, the opportunity that it provides to build on Councilmember Wong's comment. Parents had bigger smiles than kids.
Yeah. And it's always encouraging. I mean, just the other day, I received an email from a student who worked on last year's house, who he's at UW Stout for construction management. And during the summer, we had a job fair at our school, and the young man got a summer job and he worked for a contractor, and it was just for the summer, and he's back at school, and he said, I want to come back and talk to your class. And so we'll set that up on this 29th of September. So he's now part of my advisory committee. He doesn't know that quite yet, but no one's told him. I said, show up on the 29th. I said, we're not having a meeting, but he'll be there. So it's kind of good to get the feedback, you know, from the community and the students coming back and wanting to give back what they receive. So that's pretty cool to see that with our students.
You know, when I talked to Brian and we talked about having this get together, we really appreciate it. And part of it is to, you know, to see where the program, right now, we have our last piece of land as far as we spot, it was a double lot. So we have that. So we have North St. Paul's, you know, pretty locked in. So we have a couple spots. We're trying to figure out how this is going forward. Is this going to continue this, you know, as far as the partnership, just to understand, because we need to do our due diligence, you know, if we can, because we do have limited spots. You don't buy nowadays, you can't buy a house or a piece of land or a house that needs to be torn down for under probably 200,000 at least. So that's what we're looking at. So
Sure.
that's where I wanted to, you know, make sure that, you know, as far as the future of the program, is it look the same as what we've been doing? And
Yes.
I just want to make sure, because, you know, we do have some development. We're trying to figure out the best way to use it in North St. Paul and how to, you know, keep things going and understand where it is. And you said a great point, you know, when it says it was a scale, you know, it's a custom, you know, start, you know, the house is the next level, because it's a game of Jenga right now. You look at online, there's no houses for sale. So somebody is gonna go from maybe a starter home to this home, but then that starter home comes, they want to stay in the neighborhood. So people move up and down, you know, that type of thing. They get older, they go from their big 2-story house in North St. Paul, but want to stay in North St. Paul, they go to a 1-level house. So even though it may not be the, you know, the starter price, it does unlock, I think, other things so people can move and stay in the neighborhood and do what they want to do, but it brings such quality. I mean, I moved here in, excuse me, 1996, and just the quality of the neighborhood has gone up so much. And during that time for the older houses, and there was remodel you did, and they're, you know, in the corner of Helen and 13th or 14th, that beautiful house. And so it does, when you see that in the neighborhood, it does make everybody else step up their game, just because you see the value going in. So that's why I asked to understand, because we have to make some decisions when it comes to some of the land we have here. And we want to make sure this is everybody's happy and we're going forward, you know, as far as, you know, you might be getting close to retirement age, but hopefully there's some kind of a successor thing or whatever's happening.
Not until Tom puts in his official paperwork.
There you go. Yeah, well, he's great. We just want to make sure that, you know, that we're doing our side and you guys are too, that we can keep this ball rolling, but there's a commitment on both sides. And, you know, if this, you know, like you said, you're turning away students and it's going well, then we have to look at this and say, okay, now how can we, you know, help and be able to get things so we can continue. So that's something on our side of North St. Paul, that's something we can figure out. So this is why it was so great, and appreciate everything you do. You're a great leader, and, you know, the students love you. And when we were there, just seeing the smiles, like Councilmember Cole and Wong said, just seeing the smiles on the parents' faces. I mean, there's nothing more proud than seeing your kids do stuff like that,
Right.
because they were running around, Mom, I built this closet, and the kid and the mom were, you know, it was just really exciting. So this is important to us, and we have to do our due diligence to figure out, to make sure we're good. So we just wanted to make sure that we're going forward good.
Right, we are good.
Couldn't be happier.
Yes.
Everything's great.
Great. Well, that's perfect. That's what we
Right.
wanted to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Any other questions, anybody?
Yeah, I'm just kind of off of that, like, as we look at different lands and different buildings, are there mostly single family homes? I saw that there were some parks that have been done in the past. Single family, are there multifamilies or tiny houses? I don't know, just throwing out some alternative.
Right. Well, our biggest thing is to have that project fit in that neighborhood. And so looking back, and we've done 2 stories in North St. Paul. We've also taken a duplex and converted that into a single family. I believe that was the only home we did not tear down. It was distressed property. I think it was tax forfeiture. I'm not exactly sure the background of that property. But I walked inside and it's like, this foundation's good. There's minimal bulk water intrusion. And so it wasn't a bad structured building. So why are we tearing this thing down? So that one we actually converted, it was 2 small duplexes. We converted that into a single family property. And Ron and Randy might know exactly what address that was. Remember that one by Webster? 6th Street. Okay. Yeah, and that was kind of a fun project for the kids to do because we could look at something like the bathroom had some mold issues. It's like, well, what caused that? Let's tear the sheetrock off. No, someone forgot to insulate it. Imagine that. And so it's kind of fun to see that part of the construction. And it was great starting with the roof over my head. So get all the snow right away. So that was pretty good. So, as long as I can take what my syllabi say and fit it into a project, I'm okay with that. Even when we did the 2 park shelters and the press box and all that other stuff, that worked for us. And so one thing about this program and the success of it is you have to be an entrepreneur and you have to be able to look and think outside the box. And I think that's why the program's been around since I started it in 1999. Is we're always looking as an entrepreneurship opportunity. And so I'm not going to say, no, we only build that floor plan and that's it. If we can't build it, we're done. We'll go outside of that realm. So I feel comfortable doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Do I get a raise now?
There you go. All those in favor? Oh, we don't vote on that? I'm sorry.
We got some summer hours.
Thank you both for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Consent agenda, can you read, please?
Consent agenda, we have the August 24th special workshop budget meeting minutes, August 21st, special workshop budget meeting minutes, September 5th workshop minutes, September 5th regular meeting minutes, September 5th HRA meeting minutes, general claims of $2,747,659.41, HRA claims of $26,923.74, EDA claims of $750, resolution accepting donations for August of 2023, resolution adopting change to workshop meeting time, building permit report, August 2023, public works declaration of surplus vehicle, request to purchase pad mount transformers. And we would like to move the item N to the city business.
Go to city business letter. Good with that?
So moved, Your Honor.
Councilmember Wong,
Second.
Councilmember Cole, I'm not even looking that way. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, we have 3 minutes and we have some people speaking. Terry Luger. Yep, welcome. Name and address, please.
Name's Terry Luger. And I own some property in North St. Paul. I live in Oakdale. Which address?
Ah, North St. Paul. Keep it in the family.
2407 East 19th Avenue. Okay, and these gentlemen that were just speaking might be interested in this. I'm here to ask for the council's help. I've become the co-owner of 2407 East 19th Avenue. It's been my family home since 1949 when it was built. Okay, my mother just recently passed away and we have to sell it. Okay, her house is in real good shape. The houses surrounding it are, shall I say, dumps. One in particular is 2399 19th Avenue. It would be a real good match for the school district. North St. Paul has ordinances and codes as far as weeds and cleanliness and varmints, vermin. They have codes for all this. But evidently you don't enforce them because a blind code enforcement officer could drive down that street and say, what in the hell is going on there? And I would like you guys to take and look, drive by it, go in the park behind it. My mom's house looks good from the street, looks good from the park. This other house that I referenced looks terrible from the street, looks even worse from the park. It's been a joke on Facebook where they've taken aerial photos of it. The backyard has a jungle thicker than what was in Vietnam. So, I mean, it's a neighborhood blight. They also have 2 dogs that use the backyard as a bathroom and hasn't been cleaned up in years. So this summer, which was the last summer my mom was alive and could use her yard, but she couldn't because it stunk so bad from the smell queefing over from next door. So there's 4-foot weeds in the side yard. Like I say, the backyard, you got to see it to believe it. You've got 1 to 4 foot weeds in the front yard. The front steps look like they're going to fall off of the house. And I don't understand how this can go on. I drive through North St. Paul. I don't see stuff like this. I live in Oakdale. I don't see stuff like this. We have similar codes. And so my realtor, oh, no, first of all, our second, Ernie Jute lives on the other side of this lot. He's 88 years old. And he said he's gone to the city and complained numerous times over the years. And the city keeps telling him there's nothing they can do. Well, I know that that's not true. And so my mom being 93, she had to live her final years with this crap going on next door. And there's no reason why Ernie Jutes should have to have this stuff going on next door. There's a stretch of houses right there on 19th Avenue. There's 1 vacant with a duplex. That's would be ideal for the school district. You know, it's got a mold problem. The 2399, it's got mold growing on the outside of the house. It's got a branch from one of the storms last year still laying on the roof of the garage. It's got to be cleaned up.
All right.
Okay, my realtor tells me that it's going to cost me thousands of dollars and buyers because people are going to come out and they're going to go, I'm not buying this house. Look, it's next door. And so the city has a lot of power and we're going to put it up. We're going to put it on the market about our October 20th. And that gives the city plenty of time to use their 30-day ticketing and either get it cleaned up or get something going on with it.
All right. So get on it.
So that's all I wanted to say.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Mary Jo. Hi, welcome.
Mary Jo teaching 2110 Berry Lane in North St. Paul. I'm just really here. I'm starting my timer because I'm bad with time. My husband's back there.
You're my
Tell you
favorite.
that.
Thank you.
Tell you that. But I'm here just to personally invite all of you, your family, your neighbors, the community to the Church of St. Peter this weekend for our fall festival. We appreciate the approvals that we've been able to get from the city. But our fall festival has been going on for many, many years. We've taken a couple breaks with COVID, but it has really been a great opportunity for us as a community, as a parish. But we've really worked the last few years to really kind of open it up and invite our neighborhood. We'd love to have as many people there as possible to enjoy the many festivities that we have. Don't worry about doing any cooking that weekend because you can eat around the world basically, as well as our famous pancake breakfast put on by the Knights of Columbus. And this year, blueberry pancakes to go along. But we've also got some great community involvement. We have about 50 local crafters that will be in O'Reilly Hall selling their fabulous things that they make. And many of them are from the city of North St. Paul and the surrounding areas. So we're really excited by that. A lot of our sponsors as well are from the city of North St. Paul. We're going to have great music. We've got Big Toe and the Jam. First time I heard them was last year. They are 9-piece, but here's the kicker. North High band director, Aaron, is the bass player. And this is a fabulous, they play all kinds of music, had the kids up dancing on the stage, having a great time. I mean, it's a really great family event. In addition, we will have fast-paced bingo on Sunday afternoon. If I have anybody who is interested in a cornhole tournament, I think there's still some slots available for that. As well as we'll have a lot of games for the kids. We have inflatables for kids, hula hoop challenge. And then of course, we're going to have a silent auction with a lot of really great items. And if you are a Vikings fan, I'm waiting to hear, we are going to have a 15-foot TV with the Vikings going on in the afternoon. So you can pull up a chair, have a cold beer or your beverage of choice, and come and enjoy our festival. So thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I was there last year. It was just a wonderful event.
It really is. It really is. It's a great time to get a chance to meet new people. And that's what we're hoping that we can do, and invite the community to come out and see a little bit about who we are and get to meet some new people. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice. You're my favorite speaker. Freeman, Mr. Small, how are you? You got competition.
You'll have to throw me out.
Just to prove to you that I'm not bringing something up that,
All right.
not in the public record.
Okay.
First of all, just a short note, I, was here last week, John Schmall, 2750 Chisholm Avenue, North St. Paul. I was here last week and brought up, this thing about, skimming off of the, electric fund, and I forgot to mention, another great contributor to the electric fund is the school district. They probably have the biggest, electric bill of anyone, so they get to contribute to that $1.1 million that is going into the road fixing. And they shouldn't be contributing because they are, what is it? An organization that is not taxable, a tax-free organization, which is a school and churches. So anyway, to add to that, what I'm bringing up is this resolution that you have tonight, a resolution to change the time of the workshop, a resolution that's covering something that's already happened. It was changed to the 15th or to 5:15, and the resolution was just before you to change it to 5:15. Back in January, you changed it from 5 o'clock to 5:30, and you did it right because Council Member Wong was in charge that evening. You were missing in action. So the resolution came up before it happened. I would think that that's the way it's supposed to be, but this is an extraordinary city, so God knows what the policies are in effect. Anyway, it says that the resolution is changing the resolution of 2022-113, which was one that was passed in December of 2022, setting the times up for 5 o'clock and 6:30. Then we had resolution 2023-113, which changed the time for the workshop to 5:30. So, but the resolution that you have before you tonight is referring back to a resolution in 2022, but your resolution, get this now, your resolution in February or in January of this year say that you were revoking 2022-113. So the resolution tonight is referring to a resolution that doesn't exist. This is an extraordinary city. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Okay, city business.
City business, preliminary 2024 city general fund, HRA and EDA budgets and property tax levies. Mr. Winnick.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. If I can get this PowerPoint pulled up here. There we go. A lot of this information that is going to be presented tonight was presented 2 weeks ago on September 5th. And so I'll try to go through this as quickly as possible. Tonight, basically, we are going to be certifying our maximum levies for the preliminary budget for our levy funds, which include the city, which includes both the general operation, the debt, and then the Housing and Redevelopment Authority and the Economic Development Authority. Just kind of a reminder, our budget process began in April of this year, submitting forms out to all of the department heads for them to put together their budgets. During the week of June 5th to 19th, city manager and finance met with all of the department heads. And then on June 20th, we had the official kickoff with city council. We've had a number of meetings since that time. All of the department heads have presented their budgets to city council. And at our September 5th, we've kind of locked in on a maximum levy of 8.5%. And that is what is going to be being shown tonight and requesting that the resolutions be approved. We need to certify them by statute to the county by the end of this month. And so we are right on track for that. Now, this doesn't mean that the budget process is done. We will be here, finance will be here every meeting for the remainder of the year. We still have to cover our financial plans. We need to cover our capital improvement plan. We have our funds for internal service funds, our utility funds. We have special funds still to go over. And then we'll have, which is being recommended tonight too, is that we'll have a truth and taxation hearing in the first meeting in December. And then in the second meeting in December, we'll do the final approval of the budgets for all of the budgets and the levy. So again, tonight, we're certifying our maximum levies and also setting our truth and taxation public hearing, which will be on December 5th at 6:30. The city levy, as I said, is up 8.5%. It is $557,000 over the 2023. And on a median value home, that represents an increase of 9.16%. It's a $132 increase from the prior year. What that city levy is doing is it's covering all of our cost of living adjustments. It is, in addition to that, it's adding a full-time police investigator. There'll be a reduction of a part-time community service officer. It's combining of 2 part-time code compliance officers into 1 fire code compliance officer. It's an increase of on-call fire pay by $1.50 to meet the market rates. And then it's also putting some funds that are dedicated towards street improvements. As you remember that the city had chose to not do special assessments. So even at that point in time, when that decision was made, it was also identified that there would be levy dollars that would be needed in the future. They've never been raised. And so we've developed a plan based upon recommendations of our engineer. And again, that was presented to city council. And if you remember, the PCI was still going down even with this 2%. But we have started that 2% levy dedicated to street improvements. Also some other areas that are going to need funding based upon the capital improvement plan were parks and facilities. A reminder, from a snapshot in time, and that's exactly what a financial statement is. We're healthy. Our city is in very good position. The stewardship of the city council has been very good. Our fund balances are in good position. Where the rub starts to hit is when you infuse that capital improvement plan of planning for the future of the needs of the city. Those aren't reflected in a snapshot of one day at a time. And so that's what the finance department has been trying the last couple of years of educating the city council in the development last year. And again, we'll present them this year of the financial plans to be able to make sure that everybody is aware of what's coming out into the future. City council always has the decision to reduce some of the wants and the needs. And that's through talking to department heads of what the city actually needs in that capital improvement plan. If that's done as we go through our capital improvement plan, it's finance's responsibility to then roll that into the financial plans and the budgets and show you what that type of an impact would end up being. So the Housing and Redevelopment Authority, if you remember last year, we reduced the levy to 0. There's a recommendation to start moving that up a little bit. So we're just moving it up by from 0 to $11,000. That's a $2.35 increase on a median value home. Economic development, the levy is going to stay the same from 2023. It's actually the same levy as it has been since 2022. And just to kind of show you the city portion, the HRA, the EDA, and again, there's 2 components to the general fund. There's the general fund and the debt that make up that $7.1 million of the general fund. Here's the composition of what's included in our debt levy. And again, if you remember through our budget process that we talked about the debt levy, and for a city our size, we actually have a very high debt levy. And so again, that was part of the plans that have been developed for both the street and the parks and the facilities, is to start to build up a little cash and pay it in cash. Kind of the rule of thumb that I like to use is that if I were to issue a debt at 5% interest for 20 years for $1 million, it's going to cost me $80,000 a year. Multiply that by 20, that's $1.6 million. So in other words, $1 million of taxpayer money, eventually I'm going to have to pay off 1.6. So if I can develop some cash, I can get more work done for the city and for the residents of the city. And that's what we're trying to do in some of these plans that we've developed. In a comparison, you can see the city is not the highest in the tax levy increases in the cities of Ramsey County. There's already been some changes. I know Mounds View on this shows 6.5. I know that they've approved theirs at 7.5. Oakdale, I think, who's not in Ramsey County, they're in Washington County. Last week they passed theirs and they're at about a 13.5% levy increase. And again, that's the second year that they've been in double digit. reflection of the needs that are in the city with the inflationary impact that's been happening, across the nation. Showing you the market values. Again, the market values are increasing. The tough part for the city of North St. Paul is that most of our market value base is in residential. We don't have a big commercial component. So when those values increase, which has an impact, on the residents' tax impact, it's passed upon the residents in the residential community. Again, you can see the increases that were across the board for the various property types of residential, apartments, commercial, and industrial. This is what the preliminary general fund at this 8.5% levy is. And you can see that the majority, and there's a graph that'll show it a little to depict it a little bit better, but we have a heavy reliance on property taxes as a revenue source. On our expenditure side, personnel is really the big driving factor for that. Here's a picture of the revenue by category. Again, the ad valorem taxes, property tax, that's 50% of our revenue for the general fund is generated through that. We get approximately 18.6% from intergovernmental revenue. The biggest contributor to that is the local government aid. Expenditures by category, again, you can see the personnel costs are approximately 62.5% of our costs in the general fund. If we look at it by departments, again, the two departments that are really driving, again, and we talked about this, is public safety, police at 42%, fire and code enforcement at 14%. The next one after that is street maintenance at about 14.2%. So if you combine those right there, doing the quick math, you're at about 70% of your budget is by street maintenance, police, and fire and code. And those are really your main responsibilities as a city. The estimated property tax impact, if there had been no property value change with this, the overall total levy is actually 8.41 when you put in both the EDA and the HRA. It would end up having a total impact of what these levies being proposed tonight are. It would be a total increase of $13.51 or 1.2% increase. When you put in that increase in that median value home, that the values increased at 9.2%, you put in that levy of 8.4, it's now, the resident is going to see an increase of $135 or a 11.8% increase. With that, I'll take any questions that we have. And then there are there are resolutions, three individual resolutions, one for the general fund, one for the Economic Development Authority, and one for the Housing and Redevelopment Authority. And again, the resolution for the cities, the general fund for the city part to it also has a resolve to make December 5th at 6:30 the truth and taxation hearing time. So with that, any questions?
Well, we've been sitting through it, so
Yeah.
we appreciate the synopsis.
I just want to conclude this part. I mean, we're going to have to get some motions to pass on that, but once again, it's been a pleasure working with the city manager, the department heads, and absolutely with the city council as we've gone through this. We've had some very difficult discussions. This, again, as a reminder, is setting the maximum levy. It certainly can come down, and I think that was the feel from the city councils that we are going to be working at doing that in the months to come. So I thank you all very, very much.
It's a number like you said before, you can't go up. but you
We
can
can't go
always
up.
down.
We
So
can go
that's the
down.
important.
Absolutely.
I have a question in regards to the HRA. It seems like the 11,000 was determined as a potential. How did you land on that number?
You know, I really didn't have a scientific way on that one of how I arrived at that. If you remember the reason, part of the reason last year why we reduced it to zero is because right now, the primary focus of what the HRA is doing is a student-built house, which you saw the presentation earlier today, which is basically paying, you know, with the sale of the home, it's covering the costs. And so there really hadn't been a need to have a levy. But eventually, I'm hoping that there's other programs that are developed underneath the HRA. And so would like to ratchet up that levy without having a huge impact on the residents all at once. Both the EDA and the HRA levies, there's a maximum by state statute, which we're obviously at 11,000, we're not even close to it. It would be more in the range of about 230,000. I would hate to just all of a sudden jump up and have a huge impact. That's something that that's part of my principles that I always try to avoid. That's why you're seeing the street planning. That's why you're seeing the financial planning, so we can ratchet things up over time instead of having big, huge increases. So really, there wasn't a scientific, I just tried to come up with something that I thought to start it up.
Okay, thank you very much for that explanation.
I asked before.
I know you did. I just, just so I'm clear, on the property type definitions that you have, when the city, increases the levy, those are still allocated by property value, correct? Even though a different type?
Absolutely. So in how property taxes are calculated are that every property has a market value, and every property then has what is called a taxable market value. State legislation sets what is called tax class rates, which then takes the market value and converts it over to a net tax capacity. It's the combination of all of those net tax capacities that becomes your local value, that then is the denominator. You take your levy divided by the total net tax capacity, and then that becomes your tax rate. And then that's applied to everybody's total net tax capacity on everybody's property.
But we have no input on tax class rate, correct?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you could have, have somebody go to legislation and have them try to change that. I mean,
At a local government, we have no.
control. No. And really the way it always has been set up is that residential gets a lower, commercial is a little bit higher. But that's where when legislation changes those net tax capacity rates, that's where you'll hear it becomes shifts in where the burden of the property tax ends up going. And so that can be significant. It just kind of a real good example is the city of St. Paul. If you remember last year, they had a levy increase of 15.5%. This year, they're at a 3.5%. The majority of St. Paul residents will see decreases in their property taxes. The question you ask is why? Well, it's because commercial did very well. The city of St. Paul, which we've talked about a number of times about fiscal disparities, the city of St. Paul is the #1 winner in fiscal disparities. In other words, they get the most money. They increased, I think, over $3 million in their what they're going to get for that. In addition, through this last legislative process, I think they ended up getting an additional $3 or $4 million in local government aid. So when you look at that 3.5% that they got, they were able to buy down their need because of the infusion of local government aid. The city our size, we did get an increase in our local government aid, but it was only to the tune of $84,000, which is over 1% on our levy. But that kind of gives that illustration of it's not as simple as it just looks. You know, there's so many different contributing factors that have impact on the final bill that a resident or a commercial property would end up paying. Does that help answer?
That's wonderful. I really appreciate taking time to explain it, just so we can make sure that we're not leaving no stone unturned when we're doing these budget hearings. So thank you.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Councilman Nordby, you good?
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate the question. All right. Want to do the resolution?
First resolution is a resolution adopting the preliminary 2024 general fund budget and setting the preliminary 2024 general fund tax levy and debt service levy. Whereas the city of North St. Paul, Minnesota is required by Minnesota State Statute 275.065 to adopt a preliminary general fund budget and to certify to Ramsey County a proposed tax levy on or before September 30th of each year. And whereas the city council has reviewed and established a proposed general fund budget and subsequent property tax levy of 8.5% for fiscal year 2024, beginning January 1st, 2024 and ending December 31st, 24. And whereas the council is proposing the following sums of money be budgeted for expenditures in 2024 for general operations of the city. Total 2024 general fund budget, $9,903,566. Whereas the city council is proposing a general property tax levy of $5,656,758 collectible in 2024 upon taxable property in the city. And whereas the council is proposing a debt service levy of $1,453,324 collectible in 2024 upon taxable property in the city. And whereas the council issued a tax abatement bond in 2016 to finance the Casey Lake Park facility and park improvement project. And whereas the council makes an irrevocable appropriation to add debt service fund of money actually on hand to meet the annual debt obligation for 2016A bond, therefore reducing the total debt levy issued and collected from property taxes of $23,052. And whereas the council issued a refunding bond in 2021 to refund the special assessment bond of 2014A, therefore removing the debt levy for the special assessment bonds of 2014A. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of North St. Paul, the following preliminary 2024 general fund budget and general purpose and debt service levies are hereby adopted. The total 2024 general fund budget, $9,903,566. The total 2024 tax levy of $7,110,082, which is comprised of general purpose tax levy of $5,656,758 and debt service levy of $1,453,324. Be it further resolved, the council makes an irrevocable appropriation to debt service fund of money actually on hand to meet the annual debt obligations for the 2016A bond, therefore reducing the total debt levy issued and collected from property taxes of $23,052. Be it further resolved that the Truth and Taxation meeting will be held on December 5th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Be it further resolved, the city manager and finance director are hereby directed to submit this resolution and other required documentation to Ramsey County for certification.
Motion?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second, Councilmember Cole, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The next resolution is a resolution adopting the preliminary 2024 tax levy for the North St. Paul Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Whereas the city of North St. Paul, Minnesota is required by Minnesota Statute 275.065 to adopt and certify a preliminary tax levy for housing related purposes as determined and allowed by the North St. Paul Housing and Redevelopment Authority to Ramsey County on or before September 30th of each year. And whereas the city council acting as HRA has determined the tax levy necessary to meet HRA objectives in 2024 to be in the amount of $11,000. And whereas the 2024 HRA budget in the amount of $402,231 is established to provide programs and services aimed at maintaining and reinvesting the community's housing stock and community promotion and marketing efforts necessary for such activities. Now therefore it be resolved by the city of North St. Paul, Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of North St. Paul, Minnesota, on behalf of the North St. Paul Housing and Redevelopment Authority, the preliminary 2024 tax levy for housing related purposes is hereby approved as submitted in the amount of $11,000 and a budget of $402,231.
So moved.
So move, Councilmember Cole.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Nordby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And lastly, resolution adopting the preliminary 2024 tax levy for the North St. Paul Economic Development Authority. Whereas the city of North St. Paul is required by Minnesota statute 275.065 to adopt and certify a preliminary tax levy for economic development purposes to Ramsey County on or before September 30th of each year. And whereas the city council, acting on behalf of the Economic Development Authority, has determined the tax levy necessary to meet EDA objectives in 2024 to be in the amount of $200,907 and a budget of $202,907. And whereas the purpose of said funds shall be used by the EDA to assist with business retention and expansion activities and community promotion and marketing efforts necessary for such activities. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of North St. Paul on behalf of North St. Paul Economic Development Authority, the preliminary 2024 tax levy for economic development related purposes is hereby approved as submitted in the amount of $200,907 and a budget of $202,907.
Thank you.
Moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Cole. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. 10 minutes off of that if I were running. Thank you.
And next up would be item B, moving from the consent agenda to set public hearing date for special assessments for unpaid bills on October 17th, 2023. And we'll pass that on to Mr. Winnick.
Yes, we wanted to have this pulled because this morning we received an email from the city of Oakdale. The city of Oakdale provides some water and wastewater services to a few properties on Division Street. And they would like to include an amount on this unpaid utilities. The amount that they're adding is $1,209.87. So the public hearing notice will be adjusted and it'll go out for publication and then also be mailed out to all of the residents that are impacted of this. The amount will now be read instead of $31,014.13 will be $32,224. So that's the only change that is identified in there. In addition, from some of the prior year comments on when we've had this annual part, put into kind of some statistical information that kind of will help from showing from 2020 to the current date, from the date of original publication, then what actually ends up getting assessed, because obviously residents can pay their delinquent utilities. And it kind of shows you, the number that are of rental properties that are impacted, the number of owners that, owner occupied homes that are impacted by this, number that were final bills, number of active accounts, trying to give some statistical information to kind of show you some different pieces. I know those have been questions that have come from city council in the past, so I wanted to make sure that we gave you enough information. But if there's any questions before we pass the resolution, please let me know.
No, thank you for adding additional statistics. That's very helpful.
You know,
There's
read what you want us to.
Oh, yeah, I can certainly read, the attached resolution. I will not read it as well as Jenny just did. I mean, that was pretty impressive. I think,
Still gonna be better than the mayor, so go ahead.
it's a resolution scheduling a public hearing for October 17, 2023 to consider special assessments related to unpaid bills due to the city. Whereas the city of North St. Paul annually schedules a public hearing to consider and assess unpaid utility bills for water, sanitary sewer, surface water, recycling, streetlights, fiber optic, and solid waste during the year. And whereas the city also assesses all outstanding charges due to the city for property abatements, which include sidewalk, snow and ice removal, property cleanup, rubbish removal, weed elimination, building board up, building demolition, graffiti removal, and deceased tree removal. And whereas those assessments are certified by the city council and submitted to Ramsey County for collection with property taxes. And whereas property owners and persons with unpaid utilities and abatements are notified of the unpaid charges and have the opportunity to discuss those charges with the city council prior to the charges being assessed to property taxes. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the city council of the city of North St. Paul, Minnesota, the hearing date for the assessment of unpaid utility bills for water, sanitary sewer, surface water, recycling, streetlights, fiber optic, and solid waste, and outstanding balances related to property abatements due the city shall take place on October 17, 2023 at 6:30 PM. Be it further resolved, notices to persons with aforementioned unpaid and others receiving city services and who have unpaid utility bills and or other outstanding balances due to the city shall be notified.
Much.
So moved, Your Honor.
Nordby,
Second.
second, Councilmember Wong. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Reports, please. City manager departments.
On behalf of city manager and departments, couple department updates. The electric is working on bids for eco kits which help our electric customers reduce power consumption, lower electric bills and save money. We are required by law to spend 2% of our gross revenue on conservation improvement programs. The police is working on final employee trainings prior to year end and are being scheduled in-house and with Ramsey County. Body worn cameras have a new platform and in the process of working out the bugs. Fire department RFPs are being sought to provide professional architectural design services for the East Metro Public Safety Expansion Project. The training facility is currently operated by a JPA agreement between Maplewood, Lake Elmo, Oakdale, and North St. Paul. The expansion will be a great benefit for fire and police, offering indoor gun ranges, simulation rooms, incident command simulation areas, and a live fire training, to name a few. They are also expecting the Zodiac boat replacement next week. And Booyah sales are in full force with the event to be held in North St. Paul, October 8th. Public Works downtown irrigation should be done this week with sod placement next week and are looking to finish street patching within the next week and a half. And finally, the POW MIA March is this Thursday, September 21st at 6 PM at Veterans Park.
Thank you very much. Nordby, please.
I had the wonderful opportunity to participate via Zoom for the planning commission. Mr. Smalls was there and provided some wonderful feedback as well. I believe they're making great strides. A big part is due to one of our city staff of Brandy Howe about condensing and making some of our codes and zoning and overall enforcement a lot easier and simpler for all of our residents to understand and navigate. So I just want to give a huge shout out to our city staff for making this possible and happen. The planning commission does not have a meeting coming up in October due to some training going on with our city staff, but we do have one coming up on November 2nd.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Arts and Culture Commission has been quite busy, as Carrie would know. And they had the Autumn Arts Festival, which I've gotten wonderful feedback from community members and just a really wonderful event, and that people found vendors that they could go to, and they had dancers. And I think we got some good local media publicity as well. So I think that's a really positive for North St. Paul. And a big thank you to staff, obviously Carrie and Sarah Lang and Public Works, Jill in the Parks and Rec. So I think it was a really wonderful collaboration, and hopefully we continue on with these wonderful events. The next meeting is scheduled for October 4th here in the chambers at 6:30. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Cole.
EDA had their last meeting, really two primary topics of conversation. One was to begin the EDA bylaw review, and the second was to discuss the memorandum of understanding between Dobbs and Mulcahy garage condo proposal, which we had additional conversation of during workshop today. Next EDA meeting is October the 10th here in council chambers at 3 o'clock. In the absence of Councilmember Schweer, and Carrie, help me out on this. Tomorrow night is Star Watch. Are there still positions open for those? We are sold out. All right, thank you. Next Park and Rec meeting is the 27th at 6:30 here in council chambers. Still on my calendar.
All right, thank you very much. General business, Councilmember Nordby, anything?
I also had the opportunity to be at Casey Lake for the Autumn Art Festival, and I just want to give a huge shout out to all the city staff and also the volunteers that made what I consider that to be just a wonderful event. And also encourage everyone, as we had the presentation earlier, to this weekend, visit the Church of St. Peter for the Fall Festival. I had an opportunity to be there for last year, and it was a wonderful event, and I expect the same for this year. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, another big shout out to Carrie Erpenbach. I think the fall roundup parade was also a success, and it was really nice to be able to, be there together as a council. So I really appreciated that. And it was nice to show off our new roads too. So it was a good event, and thank you, Councilmember Cole, for letting us ride in the fire truck, or running alongside it. Really,
It's ran and
Literally running.
yes, exactly.
yeah, we were running.
It's a fast-paced move.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do have one more thing that I did want to discuss with this council on the city manager's review. I think it is time for that to come up again. And so I just wanted to put on the calendar that review for us to discuss. Either this next date for this next meeting for council, or the following.
The lawyer put his glasses on, so
No.
be doing something.
Dates.
I was looking for dates. It's best if we actually set the date. So that your options would be October 3rd, which is your first meeting in October, or October 17th.
My vote would be October 3rd.
Same.
So then I-
Meeting accordingly to know that we have to.
Do it.
Yeah.
Please stack the agenda late.
Yes, that's what I'm, thank you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say right. And so I can work with Jenny to make sure the proper notice gets put in the agenda, and then obviously alert Brian to it. And then, yeah, it'll be a closed session to go through that. So I don't think it takes a vote. I think you've given your direction, and the staff can prepare the agenda accordingly.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'm good.
All right. Remember Cole?
All right, had the opportunity to participate in the fall roundup parade. First time I believe full council and mayor have been present, at least in my short tenure of being here. So It's good to
Great
see
event.
everybody out there with their tennies on and hands full of candy and moving down the street. So that was exciting to see unity amongst us. So thank you all. Again, Councilmember Wong addressed it, but huge shout out to Carrie. Without her hard work and diligence on this, it wouldn't have been together. But let's not forget the North St. Paul Business Association along the way. They did a lot of heavy lifting to make sure that this got pulled off. So hats off to them as well. I had the opportunity to attend the ribbon cutting on Saturday morning at Polar Nutrition. Definitely got my day's fill of protein in. There were several of us that were able to attend. They had a parking lot full of art things going on, as well as a bouncy house. North St. Paul Fire Department showed up at 10 o'clock. So again, it was another exciting thing to offer and welcome a new business into North St. Paul.
Definitely. Thank you. I would like to echo the parade. When you told me the Winter Carnival is about 44 units, did you say something like that? Or
I don't know, like 85.
is that what the Winter Carnival is?
Oh,
Winter Carnival.
I don't know.
So I heard that we're bigger than the parades like that. So that's great.
Could very well be.
So, and we have a great participation. The weather was perfect. The ribbon cutting for the protein shake that lasted me all the way till Saturday night. And so I think I better start doing those a little more because they worked out good. Anything else? Oh, I was gonna bring up that was brought up about the workshops. When I ran and I was asked to run, I mentioned that, this is a full-time working council. We all have full-time jobs and we are pushing dates around, or excuse me, times around because of jobs that we trying to get here by a certain time. So I apologize that I know it's been hard on the staff. We went from the 5, which we just can't, there's a few of us just can't get there at 5 o'clock. So we push it to 5:30, but then we ran into some times. So we did push it to 5:15. So my apologies to the staff and for that, because I know it's been a hassle, but it's the issue we have in anything when it comes to people volunteering, people work, trying to get people with commissions and everything else. And it's a commitment, and it's a commitment that we don't take lightly, but we're still trying to figure it out. And this is a very young council and we're just trying to iron it out. Like I said, it's the first time in a long time that there hasn't been retirees on the council. So we appreciate the patience and we are trying. And so 5:15 is where we've landed and we're seeing how that goes. Not saying it may never change again, but we're trying. It's just we just don't know where it's going to be. So we appreciate the patience on that, and we'll do the best we can with that. And thank you all for patience. So anything else? Nothing else? We'll move to adjourn.
So moved, Your Honor.
So move, Councilmember Wong.
Second.
Councilmember Cole. In the
Third.
right order. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Since